anybody who believes that, that people are being disrespectful to the military by kneeling of our country. And on Veterans Day, I thought it was a perfect way to celebrate our veterans, both past and present. And I thought Steph really verbalized it beautifully, and it was really well done. Very proud of him.
Coach, what's the approach that you take to defending Ben Simmons, given how versatile he is?
Well, we've never seen him before, so this will be our first live look. We'll have probably several different players guarding him, but you can never really simulate what you see on tape, until you actually feel it live. But we'll try to do our best to keep him out of transition, stay in front of him, and make him score over the top, and not let him get to the hoop. But like I said, that's easier said than done.
What do you think has been the key for getting a team with a lot of talent to play selflessly? How do you promote that characteristic?
It's easy when the guys who are leading your team are already possess those qualities. So it's something we try to promote as a coaching staff, but it's really not difficult. We got a team full of guys who are unselfish, who love playing the game together, and who play very well without the ball. That's one of the keys, I think, to our group. You got all these stars, but none of them are ball dominant. I don't know what Steph is this year in usage rate, but he was like 30th or something last year. A lot of stars in the league who have to have the ball, and none of our guys do, and so as a result, they can all play off the ball, which creates a good opportunity to pass and move and create an offensive rhythm, and that in turn leads to unselfishness and a fun style.
Steve, will you try to say hello to McAdoo and thank him, or have a couple words with him?
Yeah, for sure. We've already been texting this morning. I'm thrilled that he's here, and I thought it was a great gesture by the Sixers to make sure he was here, and I know he'll get a huge ovation from the crowd tonight. He deserves it.
Steve, back to Steph's piece in the Player Tribune. Just with who he is, what makes him such a good candidate to be outspoken on these different issues?
Well, he's very thoughtful. He's very compassionate. He's very smart, and he's humble. And I've made the comment before that he's incredibly arrogant on the floor and humble off the court, and I think that's a really powerful combination. And so when people see him out on the floor shooting 35-footers and dangling the mouthpiece, they might think of him one way. But if they spend any time getting to know him, understanding what he's about, they'll realize he's a man of great humility, modesty. He's a family man, unbelievable father and husband. And he thinks about what's going on. And so when he speaks, it's from the heart. And I thought his words were really poignant because it seems like today what everybody's doing is just kind of yelling and screaming across the aisle or at each other or sending. If you just read that, Steph's right. What can we do to help people? In this case, he was writing about the military, given that it's Veterans Day. But that's the whole thing that we have to cut through, is all the rhetoric and the anger, and just understand that it shouldn't matter who you are, what political party you're affiliated with, or what position you're in, whether you're a public servant or an athlete or just a person in any job. It's about helping people. It's about doing the right thing and treating people with respect and understanding and accepting and embracing diversity, and those are things that Steph talks about all the time. So he's a real leader for all of us.
Coach, do you think Ben Simmons has some different throwback game that we haven't seen in a while, like say Magic or Steve Smith or Penny, or somebody that size doing what he's doing?
I wouldn't compare him to Steve Smith or Penny. I understand what you're saying with the size. Those guys were more frail. They were shooters, and they were more guard-like. This guy's a bulldozer, like LeBron, Magic, just powerful and springy, and he's got one of those sort of strange games because he's not a shooter. He finds angles and he finds different ways to score the ball that are unorthodox and difficult to guard. And so it's, I think it's fantastic that he and Joel are healthy and playing well. It's so good for the league, and it's fun to watch. I'm really excited about seeing them live for the first time tonight.
Steve, you were talking before about philosophies about how to treat people and so forth. Do you spend time with your team either having those discussions or sometimes saying, all right, after practice we're going to go to a museum or a particular site that's not basketball related?
We do a lot of things, and our players do a lot of things on their own, where we're trying to help people and bring people together. And we have done things like what you're referencing, gone to museums or brought visitors in to speak, authors, directors. We've seen movies, private screenings where the director may have shared with us his thoughts, and some of that is sociological issues, race relations. We've done a lot of stuff like that, but our players do a lot of that on their own. They're very, very interested group. People who don't know D.West should get to know D.West. And I can't wait to see what he does when he's retired from playing. He's a fascinating human being. But I'm really proud of the work our guys do. They understand the power that they possess, the position they're in as public figures and professional athletes, celebrities, role models. They understand that, and I'm proud of the way they conduct themselves.
Coach, with Andre Iguodala out for that second unit, does that mean that it'll be more committee with the primary ball handler with Sean Livingston, and similar to a couple nights ago when he was starting?
Yeah, you'll probably see Sean in a lot of spots where Andre would normally be. I like both guys. I trust both guys to settle the team down, no matter who's out there with them. And so in moments and minutes where you'd see Andre, pretty good chance you'll see Sean instead.
Steve, when you play a team like the Sixers with their pace of play and the fact that they lead the league in passes, I believe, is that, for your defense, is that something that you feel like you have to stress, or are guys just aware? Because they also are a high turnover team.
Well, we went over the film yesterday. With the 5:30 start, we didn't have a shoot around today, so yesterday was our scout day, and we talked about their ability to move the ball and share it and play with pace. And but it's an Eastern Conference team that we hardly ever see, obviously twice a year, but we haven't seen this version of the Sixers ever. Embiid, Simmons, J.J. Redick. They gave us a great game in this building last year without any of those guys. So we know what we're up against, and we've got to be ready. Fortunately, I think we're in a good groove. We're playing pretty well, and the same concepts that I've harped on over and over again are going to be critical tonight, taking care of the ball and rebounding, because this team can feast off of those areas if we're not attentive.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.